My name is Mark Andrews, and I'm the director of Super Giant Robot Brothers. The world is under attack, and stopping it on our side are these two supergiant robot brothers, Shiny and Thunder, made by our teenage genius, Alex Rose. And they have to fight kaiju and save the world in every episode. The story is really about this family that have sibling rivalries all the time. That comedy action element was super attractive to me as a storyteller and a filmmaker. I've been in animation my entire life, and I was directing on Brave.
And the Oscar goes to Brave, Mark Andrews and Brenda Chapman.
We got an Academy Award and it turned out great, but the process of not being in context in animation, I had this epiphany. There's got to be a way to get that real-time flavor of making the movie in live action and the control that I have in animation and put them together.
At Real Effects, we had actually been talking about working in a virtual production pipeline for a while, and we were already playing in the Unreal Engine. So when Mark approached us and said he wanted to make this in a virtual production pipeline, we got extremely excited. We all did a test together. We shared that test with Netflix. Netflix got really excited, and they were really on board immediately, and we were off and running.
They both dove in. I haven't seen this kind of support, from studios at this level before, trying something totally new.
This process supports story in a visual context in a way that I've never seen before. This filmmaking team can live inside the story.
Traditionally it's like write a script, radio play, animate, done. In simple terms.
This is much different. Not only are we writing in the script, you make the assets, and then we get onto the stage, and there is a chance to see it in action again and rewrite on the stage.
Then we would have a meeting afterward and we would change the script for the VO based on what happened on the stage, and then we'd move forward that way.
There's really interactivity between us, interactivity between our mocap actors, and it really transforms scenes.
It just got running so smoothly, and I ended up loving it so much.
You can see how quickly you can shoot cameras and do layout, so there's a lot of hard work up front, but the wins are incredible.
The main takeaway from this process is really the liberty that it gives the director in creating a show very early on, that they can then be shared to the artist that will be creating that vision.
It's a lot faster moving when it comes to collaboration between art and the previs kind of layout department. I think it's a great tool to work with because it lets you get into 3D much faster and also play with lighting and camera angles.
And to have my DP, Enrico Targetti, with me on stage with the camera, virtual camera in his hand, we can do coverage and cover different sides, feel the scene in different ways, so I don't have to settle yet.
My background is in live action cinematography, but this is really different from any of the things that I did before and any of the things that any of us did before, honestly. If I had an idea, I would just do it. With just my thumbs, I could do 2 miles of technocrane movement.
That's what's mind-blowing. You're filming inside of a game.
He had an idea for a shot, grab a camera and just do your thing, reacting to whatever was happening on the stage. It really brought all of that immediacy of live action into a CG show.
The biggest thing that virtual production allows us to do is to be really playful. You have this freedom to allow the director and the actors to just play and to see what's available to them.
In UE, you could do anything. So she was helping me out with lighting, with timing, with moving props around, with bringing in stuff that wasn't there, changing sizes.
You do have control of the entire world. That's what's so beautiful about this. Mark one day just picked up these props and was like, can you put one of the characters on this? I'm gonna fly him around. Mark or Enrico or whoever's operating VCams will be like, Ray, could you move the sun? And I'm like, yes. It really is once the tools and the processes by which you need to set things up are no longer a barrier. It gives you so much more freedom to play, and I think that the engine itself is what allowed us to pass that barrier, to have a piece of technology that can work as fast as he does and enable me to work as fast as he does. Unreal was in a lot of ways like a team member as well, because if it can run as fast as you can, then nothing can stop you, you know?
Being able to have lighting on stage is, I can't stress enough how important it is. The mood changes completely. And in a show that is so stylized like this one, that is very important. There is a wonderful episode where the power goes out and everybody's just scrambling around with flashlights. And on stage, with the actors, we just gave them little props that we parented to a light. And at the same time, the actors can see themselves on the screen. Being able to see it on the screen, like what it will look like, I think it just makes for a better performance too.
It's a synthesis that creates something that's different. And that's what's been amazing for me, that kind of amalgamation. It's a new art form in a sense.
What we're doing is blues, you know, it's music. It's just like, we're just jamming. We come out with 12 hours of recordings, and our editors will find a symphony in there.
Then we could get into editorial. Now we can make our decisions based off of all what we shot. You don't usually have that in your traditional process.
The way that the live action piece can transform animation is in editorial. You see things that the editors are finding that it's just wow. And this process puts that into animation. You see coverage. You see Mark working with an editor and finding moments that have been captured in an animation context with a live action sensibility.
Usually in animation, editors only get to deal with storyboards and drawings. That leaves a lot open to interpretation. But with the Unreal Engine and this virtual pipeline, all the stuff I get back from the stage is just like footage. So I get wides, mediums, close-ups. I get all the things an editor needs to do creative editorial and have fun and play. Then Mark and I can go, oh, it would be great to have a close-up here, or oh, we need to cut to a wide for that punchline. With this process, we're cutting the show together super early, and then animation, lighting, and effects and all that is just icing on the cake.
I get all the context of camera moves, of editing language, and that's all solved before it goes off into your traditional animator process.
In a way, when you are doing VCAM, you are doing live action. You are not doing 3D. What you are shooting, it's actually preparing the work for the animators.
We're able to give them a lot of context very quickly, give them really fun and interesting cameras to work with, and then they're still given freedom to go and do their thing and to animate. And as an artist, that's always what you want, is being able to put a little bit of yourself in there.
So to have that base already kick off, they can now get to what are those choices of those characters? What is that entertainment value, right? How do they find even more funny?
We actually get to make like decisions and choices, and people are really bringing their A game to that and really having a good time. And the mocap is there to help, and if you do want to use it, or you're like, oh, I'm not sure what to do for this shot, you go, oh, okay, well, I have all of this information, and it saves so much time and effort.
You got to realize when you're animating stuff, you construct all that fake stuff. Every hand gesture, every head movement, all this like incredible tedious stuff. And this solves a lot of that. People are like, yeah, you can do all this great stuff. Like, yeah, I know, but look at that head glance.
A huge boon for this production was Epic's involvement.
Epic has been a tremendous collaborator. It's more than working through troubleshooting. It's like they're invested in the excitement around trying something new.
Not only from a technical side, but just an insight to the game engine and making it do things that they hadn't designed it to do. We couldn't do this without having a partner like Epic backing us up on this, because nobody's done this before. Nobody's done it at this scale before. A full animated series, all in engine.
And so for me, what's been really special about this process is around this revolutionary, visionary director, young people and people from different places that have dabbled in the game engine deeply, or from theater, kind of building this team of misfits that has come together in an amazing way.
Everyone on this team is such a nerd in a sense that I can just we just get each other like.
And the people that you meet there are also people who share that sort of like dual-mindedness. And so you're immediately just best friends with everyone, because you're like, oh my God, I thought I was alone and there's so many of us.
As gamers in a game engine, making a cool story that's also still kind of nerdy about robots fighting kaiju, and it's just like, this whole thing is just a blast.
I love that. I mean, that's new. Like, what's that going to look like? What's that going to feel like? How's an audience going to react to an animated series that has this live action vibe and energy and momentum to it?
So you guys are going to get to see, before anybody else, some sneak footage of Supergiant Robot Brothers. Check it out.
That stunk. Man, a billion stars in the universe. And I happen to land on a planet that looks just like Earth. Whoa! Not just like Earth! Halt! Big guy. I mean, gigantic, cool-looking space alien.
State the purpose of your presence, or prepare to be destroyed.
Ah! Enough chatter! Let's fight!